so both of you guys have at least when we talk about parallel spheres of influence, you've both been involved with voter turnout. And one thing, so I'm obviously not as experienced as you guys with this sort of advocacy, but I have done just over the summer did a quick little spiel, a little stint, so to speak, of phone banking where it was for a pre-orientation program for Harvard, but essentially what we did was call random, well, not random people, but I'm sure on a registry list,
Hmm.
and instruct them on Boston's and Massachusetts in general, Massachusetts rules in place for absentee ballots and mail-in ballots, etc. And one thing that struck me interesting, and something I want to address here, potentially, pick your guys' brains, is that, well, first of all, a large majority of people that I was able to actually like pick up and have a chat
Hmm.
with, because half the time they just hung up.
Yeah.
Um, the people who did pick up, a lot of them were either busy at work, or they were like, one person in particular, I remember they were like, "Sorry, I'm actually taking your order right now. Please, I sorry, but it's just just
Mhm.
blink." And so that's the one thing you hear people always advocate for voter registration, for voter turnout, for people to go to the ballots, go to the polls, express
Mhm.
your political beliefs. And one thing I think we've underestimated throughout the past forever how long, is that it's hard for people to, at least the common person in America, it's hard for them, or it's hard for you per se, to ask them to think about an election that has implications 4 years down the line versus what they need to do tomorrow. And I think that's the biggest difference here, right? Where they have work, they have bills for tomorrow, they have childcare, they have all these things that take up their mental bandwidth. uh and we're here, I suppose, and when I say we, I guess in general, not you guys specifically,
Mhm.
but the people who advocate for voter turnout, I think that's probably one of the biggest issues. But for you guys, in your theory for voter turnout, why is it so low, and how do we implement it? Is this factor of down the line thinking versus immediate thinking, is that part of it? What's your guys' thoughts?
And particularly with students as well. That I'd like to hear your perspective on that.
Awesome. So, I think that you definitely put it into words. A lot of the frustrations that, we have experienced, also phone banking, not only for voter turnout, but just like campaigns in general, is
Right.
that yes, people are extremely concerned about, the immediate, about tomorrow. And you talk to people and you're like, hey, I want to talk to you about, your local commissioner and stuff like that. And um, people are like, no, I don't want to talk about my local commissioner. I'm working. I have kids to pick
Right.
up, bills to pay, hang up. Um, it's very difficult to communicate um, the very strong implications about how local politics, especially local politics, people always talk about the presidential election and congressional
Mm,
election, but especially local politics, how the policies that are being passed in the area that you live in directly affect your life every single day. So that annoying pothole that you pass every time that you get to work that makes you late, like that is something that is an issue with local politics. Everything in our life is very political. And some of the conversations, the most productive conversations that I've had with people have been those people that are very busy, and trying to convince them about how local politics, politics in general, and who we choose to be in office is of the utmost importance. Um, and there have been a lot of difficult conversations. Like the other day, I remember I got a voter who was like, I was like, hey, sir, we're doing a quick survey on voter turnout in Florida. Do you have a couple minutes? And he was like, I don't trust any politicians. I don't even trust you. And like just hung up the phone. Um, and that's like a very like abrupt and like kind of like extreme conversation, but it is a lot of the mentality that a lot of Americans have right now. I mean,
Essentially, like you would say that there's a real strong culture of cynicism among the American people.
yes,